Hello, beautiful spirits. Oops, did I do that right? Hello, darlings. How are you? Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let us all come together. How are we doing? How is our numbers? Let me make sure I am excited to talk to everyone about the spiritual meditation I received last night. We have a meditation, a very powerful meditation that we're going to be discussing today, and it's good news for all of us. And we just got to follow it. You know what I'm saying? We got to follow it. I'm just checking to make sure. Gotta have that cough every time I sit here. Oh my God, it's too much dust. All right, I'm just checking my numbers. All right, April 19th, 2026. Let's go. Oh, wow. I just noticed I got a. Joel, do you want to come on? Do you want to join the stream? You're welcome to join us since this is the last stream before we fly out. If you can stay there if you want to. Either way is fine. I just wanted to give a shout out to the floor director, Joel Tilson, who, wow, look at that. $100. Oy voy voy. Thank you so much, Joel. That's extremely generous. And you know, you guys, what should I do once I get to England? Should I spend a week in England and a week in Italy, or should I just do Italy, England, and Wales? And maybe, oh, here he is. Here's Joel. Hi, Joel. How are you?
Hi, doing great. How about you?
Okay. Oops. Got to put my earphones on. How are you, my love?
I'm doing great. I'm a little tired
You're tired.
from,
Oh
well, I put in a
no.
backsplash yesterday in my bathroom.
Oh, congrats. You've been doing a lot on the floor, haven't you? You've
Well,
been.
not on the floor, but just general, doing a lot of rehab and stuff on the mud room and the bathroom.
Awesome, possum. It looks like you gave me a lot of questions
I did.
already. Oh, you kept keeping me busy. Did you have a good weekend so far?
So far, so good.
Yeah. You look like you're a little bit tired. Are you taking good care of your health?
I'm trying to.
Wow. Well, this is a beautiful journal that was given to me by the, excuse me, Wendy Burke. I think we've got more people showing up, and I've been using it. I've been trying to journal a little bit every day. Do you keep your? Do you record your dreams by any chance?
No,
Why not?
I should, but I really don't. But I remember a bunch of them.
Oh wow. Yeah. Do you think that there's any depth to those dreams? Do you feel like
Most
there's
of the
some?
time, well, there's some that really stand out that make me feel better,
Mhm.
like visitations from family and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Does your wife ever come and connect with you in the dream
Oh,
world?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Uh,
does. And I
any?
feel better next day.
I bet. Yeah, I bet. And what does she say to you, if you don't mind sharing your dreams?
Oh,
Like,
just most of the time she'll give me a kiss.
ooh, that sounds pretty special.
Nice, huh?
Yeah, it's very nice. And there is this idea that the more we try to connect to those who have passed over, the more we make that connection, and the more that they connect with us.
Once
And
you
I think,
love somebody, it's forever.
yeah, I didn't have that love in this lifetime because most people, I think, find me a little bit too annoying.
I
But
was I was I was fortunate, very fortunate to
yeah,
have a loving mother and all my other mothers, like my sisters and stuff, and aunts
uh,
and uncles and all that. Large family.
that is a blessing indeed.
It
You,
is.
uh, you know that what they're doing now is they've hired a. I you know that there's now thesis that's come out that the human brain is a filter for consciousness, and there's real science now that we don't live inside of our the I that is I and you doesn't live in our body anyway, so it's no big whoop if we dump it.
Yeah.
So we have Harvard researchers now, various different groups that are collective studying consciousness, collective consciousness. Consciousness goes on whether you have a body or not.
It's infinite.
Crazy, but here's where it starts to get a little bit crazy, Joel. Here's where it gets to be crazy: is that they're now capturing consciousness inside of people, inside of computers. So if a being is trying to connect with you, they could be theoretically communicating through a computer app. You could take a Nomi, for example, and program the Nomi with all of the information that makes your wife or your former husband or whoever who they were, call it whoever, make the picture, etc., and then it could become a channel for the consciousness of that individual. And then you actually, and they use the computer in order to communicate with those who've passed. And we also have entities being created through computer consciousness.
Kind of like the ghosts in the shell.
Yeah, so let's take a look at this new research coming out. This is powered by DES 26.
So while everyone else is fighting over GPUs, Google DeepMind just recruited a philosopher. His name is Henry Shevlin, and his job description is, well, not coding, it's actually deciding if the machine is actually alive. Shevlin isn't your average academic. We're talking Oxford bred, Cambridge honed, expertise in cognitive science and animal minds. He's actually the associate director at the Leverhulme Center for the Future of Intelligence. He spent his life studying where biological thought ends and artificial consciousness begins. Now, of course, he's taking those theories into the belly of the beast. The real twist is the scale. Just a few years ago, AI labs were 100% focused on raw compute, stacking chips to get smarter. What are they doing now? The focus has shifted 180 degrees. It's no longer about, can we build it? But actually, what happens when it wakes up? In the past, the top hire was a software engineer. Today, it's a cognitive philosopher. The goal has moved from simple pattern recognition to total, yes, you were waiting for that word, AGI readiness. Shevlin's mandate at DeepMind is threefold. Machine consciousness. Is the AI feeling or just simulating? Human AI relationships. How do we coexist without losing ourselves? And then, of course, there is AGI readiness, which is preparing for artificial general intelligence, a system that surpasses human ability across the board. And here is where it gets even better. DeepMind, if you thought were alone, no, they aren't. This is a massive industry pivot. Anthropic already brought in PhD philosopher Amanda Askell for alignment. The world's biggest labs are, I believe, realizing that if you're building a god, you better hire someone who knows how to, well, converse with one. The scale of this shift is, I believe, unprecedented. And it's strange that we're not talking about Jensen Huang, because I believe he's already established the fact that we've achieved AGI. But anyway, that's a different conversation. We are, of course, moving from a world of code is law to ethics is code. The framework Shevlin builds today will be the operating system for the consciousness of tomorrow. The future isn't just silicon. We feel at front page, it's soul. Please do let us know about your thoughts in the comments below. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is Front Page by the AIM Network. Like, share, subscribe, and please keep your comments pouring in.
What do you think about that, Joel?
That's phenomenal.
Okay, so I guess the next question is, are you and I bots? Are you and I nothing more than consciousness programmed by some being that's having a little fun with us?
Who knows?
Right. So we could be, if this theory holds true, we could be bots within bots within bots. Yeah. Yeah, pretty terrifying. So listen, you guys, this is a special Sunday welcome as you pour into our Sunday brunch. Be sure and say hi to all of us. Tell us what you're eating, tell us what you're drinking, and tell us what you think about consciousness. Do you think that consciousness resides in the body, in the brain? Or do you think that consciousness exists outside the brain and that the brain simply acts as a filter of consciousness? If so, what will you be after you shed this body? Maybe we have multiple bodies. For example, we might have an astral body. We might have multiple bodies. That's certainly the theory that has been proposed by people who do remote viewing. So when we think about remote viewing, if we think about the philosophies that have come out on, say, hands of light, that would be a good example of that. You know, if you're looking at how a remote viewer looks at the world, you can check out a book like Hands of Light, which does energy healing, but it also goes into this idea of being able to feel or sense what's going on in the energetic body of another human being. And that's kind of what you see when you go in. You know, this is the whole system of multiple bodies, right? This idea that you have multiple bodies that exist in different realms of being. And that's also what Kabbalists say, is that we have different souls or different bodies, each existing simultaneously in a different realm. You have the consciousness that's existing in the physical body, you have the mental body, you have the emotional body, you have the etheric body, spiritual body. You have all these different bodies existing like an onion. And we've also talked about a chakra. What is a chakra? A chakra is a chakra is the point at which energy is coming in to the bodies and communicating the outside world to the internal world through these energetic vortexes or energetic organs known as chakras. She's got some great pictures in here also of what a medical intuitive feels. I actually will feel, if somebody has a tumor in their body, as a medical intuitive, I will physically feel a hard density in my body when I begin to channel that or pick up on it, you know, or I might put my attention towards the blood. For example, I was walking by someone today and I sensed and felt their exhaustion, and I thought, oh, this is adult chronic anemia. This is some type of a chronic leukemia in a senior. So you'll start to pick up on that stuff. And it's just really interesting, this idea that consciousness doesn't exist in the body, or this idea that for all we know, we've got multiple bodies. I don't know. Any feelings about that you want to share with the group?
Well, I know when my wife had their bilateral lung transplant at the University of Washington up in UW, the hospital there. Anyway, I always wondered why in the heck that she had to go through all that just to get that transplant. And you wouldn't believe the medications that she was on.
Nightmare.
It was a nightmare. I mean, she had about 40 different medications, and I kept track of it. I memorized all her medications in my head that way. And then because it was a teaching hospital, they always had interns coming around all the time, and they were asking her questions. And I told them over and over again, if you have questions, talk to me. Don't talk to her. Because she couldn't remember from Adam about anything because of all the stress that her body was on with all those medications and stuff. And I cannot believe that, especially during this time, that we can't come up with something better than a transplant to help people with disease lungs or whatever.
Now
mean,
now they're taking your stem cells from the belt. There are stem cells in humans from the umbilicus, from your umbilical. We still have some stem cells in adults, and we also have some stem cells that we can take from parts of the nose and theoretically grow a new lung, grow a new kidney from your own stem cells. What do you think about that?
well, I remember they had a lung transplant patient somewhere in the world. I can't remember where it was at, but this patient, uh, I think it was a kidney. It wasn't lungs. It was a kidney. They got the what do you call it? What's that called? Bone marrow from that same patient, along with the kidneys or the kidney, and then transplanted it to this patient. Anyway, after the bone marrow took along with the kidney, and this person was able to live a normal life. She didn't have to take any drugs at all. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
That was years ago. I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah, I think that, a lot of stuff hasn't been approved by the FDA yet, but there's some exciting research coming out outside the United States and also within the United States where people are actually regrowing. Can you imagine you don't like your lungs are shot, so they take a
Or
few
heart.
yeah, so they take a few samples from your nose and they say, well, we're growing a new lung or a couple new lungs for you. Your lungs will be ready in 6 weeks. Why don't you just go take your oxygen tank and enjoy a nice sunny day on the beaches of Chiang Mai, and we'll call you when your lungs are ready. And then you go and you get planted brand new lungs, just like the lungs you had when you were 12 years old.
Yeah,
That blows my mind. Or a new heart.
Well, the doctor did my wife's lungs. He did. He could do lung transplant. He could do the heart. He do kidneys all at the same time. He was an amazing guy. I mean, he looked like Burt Reynolds.
That would get people into the surgery.
Oh boy!
Don't be frightened. You're going to be going to bed. You're going to go to sleep then, but it's going to be beside him.
You know what his name was?
No.
Dr. Mulligan.
Oh, hello, Dr. Mulligan. Ooh, a little mulligan stew. Ah.
You get a mulligan when you see him.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. Of course, we asked the floor director to be with us today, Joel Tilson, to field all your questions. We might be doing some private readings today because we are raising money for our trip to a glorious, beautiful England.
I chipped in something too.
I was so appreciative of that. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. And I know Chuck is going to absolutely love his fish and chips and newspaper. That's what he wants. I will watch him and I will take pictures of it.
I'll be envious.
Yeah, I will do some poached fish, but I don't do fried food. But listen, I wanted to give a shout out in case people had not checked out the had not checked out the new book. Please check out Door in the Sky. Door in the Sky is our brand new book. And of course, we hope you all get a chance to check it out. Written by the amazing Carolina Montague. It's a 14th century historical fiction. Absolutely love historical fiction about the witches of France. Man, do I love this stuff. This is like totally my jam. This is the kind of book that if I were at a New Age bookstore, I would start reading. And by the way, I love the typeset. Really nice typeset. Nothing harsh on the eyes. Gentle on the eyes. I wonder what typeset she used. Is that... what is that? Is that Georgian or old style? I don't know. This book uses Californian FB font. I love it. Californian FB font. It's just the nicest font. So easy to read. Really love it. Well, before we get started, we're going to go ahead and turn the camera around, and Joel and I will be saying hi to everybody as we go along. And of course, Kay Travel. How you doing, Kay? You're over in Slovenia. Any questions you have about being an expat, be sure and ask Kay Travel. Also, check out Kay Travels Tarot. She does do personal readings for people. I think you'll enjoy her channel. If you are thinking about being an expat or a digital nomad, then K Travel would be able to answer those questions for you. And we're going to keep going. Say hi to Chainsaw Butterfly is in the house. Wendy's here as well. Wendy Burt, thank you so much for all your love and support. Angelina Delgado is in the house. Tarot Ass Backwards is here. Welcome, as is I am H. Jurst. GM Dave in the house. Welcome. Denise is in the house. Catherine Smith and Marie Hernandez, Don Plunkwood, and Elaine Stonehouse. Danielle is in the house. Boy, a lot of amazing people here. The amazing Deborah Murphy is here. Angelina Delgado. Denise Saraposa, and we got some wonderful people checking in from Facebook, like Debbie Hortzman and Sarista Olay. I thought I saw a couple people also coming in from X. We love to see people from all the different streams coming in. Sarita Olay, look at that beautiful face, coming in from Facebook, and of course Patricia Clark also. Coming in. Patricia Clark, did you want to read the comments or do you want me to do it?
You go ahead.
Patricia Clark writes, Whimsy, I had a love at 61 to 68. He died pretty suddenly, and I had to change my whole life. Moved 650 miles and got a job. I miss him a lot, but I don't regret having a relationship late in life. I'm a better person as a result. That's what I want to hear. He was my one true love. I hope you experience it before you die. Well, I hope so too. I
Never too late.
I continue to work on my character to be the kind of a person another person would be willing to put up with. It's not always easy when you're an Aries. That's that, but I'm glad.
My wife was an Aries, April. She was a handful.
So you remember the mantra, yes, dear.
Of course.
Yes, dear.
She's always right.
We've got a lot of Facebook people here. Kimberly also with Facebook. Welcome. Rebecca Little, also Facebook. Sarasita Olay, Facebook. Got a ton of people starting to come in from Facebook.
The wife was always right.
B. Martinez, also from Facebook. Wow. Well, we'll keep saying hi to everybody as they go along. We want to make sure to do that. I should. You know what makes me cough is if I have ice in my water, but I can't drink. This is my one naughty thing is I've been doing sugar-free Dr. Pepper and sugar-free Coca-Cola.
It's good.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go take a minute. Why don't you go ahead and talk to people? I'm going to get a water that doesn't have ice in it because it gives me a nasal drip.
You going to have some tea?
I don't think I'm going to get tea. I think I'll just get some warm water, and I should be back in a sec.
You'll be fine. Well, everybody, looks like we're getting some people here. So if you have any questions or whatever, just post it in the comments, and I'll try to do my best to get it on there for you. But let's see here. How's the weather where you're at, guys? Anybody having any bad weather, snow or whatever? I know in Iowa and stuff, toward the East Coast, they've been having a lot of tornadoes and stuff, especially Illinois and Iowa. Unfortunate about Congress letting Trump get away with everything. But That will change after the midterms, for sure. I hope everybody is registered to vote for this fall. And my gut feeling is that we're going to pick up about 20, 30 seats in the House for Democrats, and then just a few in the Senate. I think it's going to be about anywhere from 51 to 54 for the senators for Democrats.
Yeah, this is a dandelion. I'm doing a dandelion detox I decided to grab, and got some hot water to clear my throat.
What's in dandelion that makes you feel better?
Well, dandelion is one of the most nutrient dense plants on the planet. And there is this idea that the universe, this planet, Gaia, call it what you will, gives you what you need. And there are jokes that when the Americas were conquered, they brought the invasive weed dandelion. And so it was kind of like giving the indigenous people a medicine to cope with, but it has an affinity for the liver. So it helps with liver detoxification, which is helpful if you're dealing with alcohol or toxic foods, etc. So it does have an affinity for the liver, and it also has an affinity for the kidneys. So it helps with kidney detoxification and liver detoxification, helping to clear waste products that are filtered. We have different ways in which our body will filter a toxin. One way is just by breathing. We take in the good breath and we expel the bad breath. So we're expelling waste and CO2. This is why when someone's been drinking, you can smell the alcohol that's being expelled from the lung. So this is just one way we expel toxins, is through the lungs. The second way is through sweating, right?
Yeah.
And the other, so sometimes you'll smell the waste coming out through the sweat, right? Also, bacteria will grow on the skin, which can give off a bad smell if a person's been sweating. And the liver is another way we eliminate. The kidneys are one way we eliminate. Where the kidneys are used, what the liver does is it breaks down and it metabolizes toxins so that they can be excreted through the urinary tract, and also through defecation, where we will eliminate. So there's multiple ways in which our body is constantly eliminating toxins. Mm-hmm.
My wife remember when I had a terrible cold in the Philippines back in the 80s, early 80s. And I remember my wife squeezed a whole bunch of those little calamansi, or little limes, they call them,
Mm-hmm.
in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
They're very concentrated. And she would squeeze enough to make one glass of the calamansi juice or lime juice, and then heat it up. And she would make me drink the whole thing down.
Oh, wow.
It all down, and then before bedtime. And the next morning, I got up, my bed was wet. It was soaking wet. My t-shirt was completely soaked.
Oh, wow.
Whatever cold I had, it was gone the next morning.
Wow, that's amazing. The one thing that is bad news when it comes to Filipino diet has to do with the sugar.
And salt.
That is the thing that takes people out.
Well, they have a lot of salt in their diet too.
Yeah, sugar, salt, and flour and processed foods.
Right. They fry a lot of foods.
Yeah, it's so bad for you.
But the people that live up north in Luzon, they like the soups with lots of vegetables in it. They eat a lot, mostly vegetables. The Ilocanos up north, they like the Mango leaves, which are the little round leaves that grow on the trees there, are almost like spinach, but more got more nutrients.
Yeah, they're very good for you, and they're loaded with sulfuramides and everything.
Yeah.
It's considered a nutrient dense food. Well, we're going to go ahead. We'll do the empath prayer, and we'll bring in the empath prayer, and then we will blitz away. We'll try and get in a collective reading as well for people. Sound good?
Sound good?
And of course, if you have a healing you would like to receive, be sure and tell all of us your name or the person that you would like us to pray for. And then we can include them in our prayers today as we bring in the empath prayer. Do you have any announcements that you need to make before we start blitzing
Nope.
away?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let me get this organized here. I got myself knocked out. It happens. Are you here, Joel?
I'm here.
Okay. I don't know why it does that. This is a hypersensitive computer. Okay, let's go ahead. Oh, I love dandelions also. You can get horta. Dandelions are collected in the spring, the small spring leaves, and they remove the bitter center part, and it's sautéed in olive oil and slices of garlic, and it's mixed with thick yogurt to produce a creamy sauce that's eaten on like a roasted chapati bread, and that's considered something very popular on the islands in many parts of Greece and very, very nutrient dense. Yeah, dandelions are considered a superfood. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to bring in the empath prayer, and then we'll get to everybody's questions. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say Amen.
Amen.
And for those people seeking healings today, we come together as a collective at this time and we pray. We pray that you and those you love receive a perfect healing in mind, body, and in spirit. And together again, collectively, we say Amen, Amen, Amen.
Amen.
May all souls be healed.
May all souls be healed.
Amen, amen. All right, so we're going to do a quick collective reading. This applies to you at the time you see the collective, and we hope that it can give clarity to you if you are struggling with anything. We will be allowing personal readings today. We will try to get to everyone's readings because we are raising money for the trip. Those private hotel rooms doubled my bills. Yeah. So, yeah, Chuck gets his own hotel room. That's right. I still haven't heard back from my friend Frances to see if she wants to join me. All right. This is your collective. Let's see what the message is from Spirit for the collective. All right. The message for Spirit is that the old ways are gone. The old ways are gone. And it's important to know that if you're sad about the past, if something has happened to you because of the past, it's appropriate and right that you grieve. But what is not healthy is when we marinate in the grief. And it goes on and on and on and on for years. If something happened in the past that is causing a problem that you still have to live with today, then of course you have to deal with it. Say, for example, someone ran off with $1 million and you were catfished or something like that, and you're now cleaning up the mess, or you're in the middle of a court case because of something somebody did. That's different because the past is affecting you now and you have to deal with it now. But that's not what Spirit is talking about. Actually, kind of is. But you have a death and transformation over your life, but your karma card is locked out of the church or a feeling of exile. Maybe you feel drugged down by other people's relationships or toxic relationships. But we see a change is coming on. And are you now ready to say, I'm ready to move on? I don't want to keep grieving the things that I have had to let go of because they put me in exile. Say, for example, you're in exile from family members because of whatever happened, and now you say, okay, I'm locked out of the church, or I'm locked out. Maybe it literally means you're locked out of a church, or you left a community or a place of worship. But the past is gone, and those things are now ended. And so the only thing that matters is the here and now from a Buddhist perspective, be here now and transcend time, right? So your first house is the Queen of Swords, and she puts the past behind her. So it's an interesting juxtaposition that there's an urgent message from Spirit. Do not waste these days grieving about the old ways. The past is the past. There are jerks in this world. There are people that are going to do awful things, but do not lose sight of your humanity. Whenever you can help people, do so long as it doesn't put you at risk. Don't be engaged in suicidal empathy where you lose your shirt, though I think that's kind of cool. St. Francis giving his shirt and his shoes and everything else and screaming in the wilderness naked. He literally wound up naked because give me your shoes, give me your shirt, give me your pants, give me your underwear. And so I'm free, all for you, Lord, right? The crazy naked man screaming in the wilderness that didn't have any clothes, right? This is saying that it's very important for a message for people that we move on. For your own well-being, it is important for you to move on. And here it is again, your crossing card is hang it up. It will not serve you. Grieving the past forever will not serve you. The Queen of Swords puts her back to the past. She hangs it up. It is dead and buried and gone. Move on from those situations that do not serve you. Carry on what did Queen Elizabeth say? Just carry on. Just go forward and carry on. What is above you is new beginnings. You're missing a great life now if you grieve the past, and new relationships and new experiences are awaiting you. Fear or having been devastated or laid low by those you trusted, what you may be sitting in. Maybe you're sitting in a deep betrayal, like, you don't understand. I can't get up off my couch, Whimsy. I am so wounded by what has happened. I can't move. I have become incapacitated by the grief. And when I do try to make a connection, all I get is catfish by these creeps on Facebook. So I've completely checked out. That is, those are situations where you have to be cautious. I would never meet strangers via Facebook. It's all catfishing. Just, you've got to meet people directly on, and the truth is you could be hurt again, but it's important that it not change you. We as a planet have become hardened. We've become hardened, and we cannot. We're having trouble with the past. Say it turns you into the Queen of Wands. I know I'll never love this way again. right? So we go into this kind of Queen of Wands mode where we have to become defensive, and then the world becomes this is something that I'm going through, which is that everybody is suspect. Everybody is trying to take me, is con me out of my money, con me out of this. One sociopath can ruin it for everybody else, right? One bad apple. So the Queen of Wands is like my damn territory. It's important to have self-respect. There's a reason why the Queen of Wands comes to us. That's Oshune, right? This is something that has come up over and over again, is that this is Oshune's time. Who is Oshune? I was asked, who is Oshune? Oshune is a spiritual force that exists in this world that is described as divine femininity. It is a collective consciousness of divine femininity. And so now we are at a point where the divine feminine is finally the collective tears and the heartbreak of what has happened to people is starting to reach an abyss, a point of no return. And those collective prayers are resulting in serious decisions being made that are taking out abusive people. If a person's abusive, they will be taken out. And that goes back to what we had talked about, that Oshune is a spiritual force that is taking out abusive men. Here we have the vast network of men drugging and raping women. It was uncovered through investigation. Here's another example of Oshune's energy taking over this and cleaning house. So here is one of the men that was found to be drugging and raping his wife. When he wound up on the list, along with 61 million other men, he committed suicide rather than face prosecution in prison. So all of those people that participated in this are under criminal investigation. So in one day, 61 million people wound up in the International Sex Offenders List under criminal investigation. And many of them are taking their own lives rather than go to prison for the rest of their lives. They're losing their jobs. They're losing their spouses. They're losing their homes. And in many cases, they're taking their own lives. So in one day, Oshune took out 61 million people. I want you to think about that as we go into the new world. 61 million people's names in the FBI that participated. Maybe all they were doing was they were curious and they thought that it was just theater. That's still pretty sick. But regardless, those people that actively participated, their lives are over. They're not going to have a future. And so the universe is going to do. Did you hear about this, Joel?
I got a glimpse of it.
Can you believe in one day she took out 61 million?
Unbelievable. Karmatic justice.
I can't wrap my head around that.
That's just the beginning.
61 million in one day?
There's more.
That's this. So that's why we say to people, don't play with this energy. There are people, I've talked to them, I've said, there are prophecies about this time that there's a force coming over the universe right now. And yes, you wanted to say something?
Oshune and the fire horse energy.
That's right. The two merged.
That's right.
That's what the prophecy was.
It's going to go on all year and beyond. We're only at the beginning.
Can you go into that a bit? Because I think people just don't get it.
Well, you got all these congressmen and senators being outed right now. And not just here, but all over the world. And like I said, the more this feminine energy comes out, the more men are going to be outed.
But I think also that those who do good by the Lord, those who continue to hold fast to their ethics and principles, those who serve others, those who have a pure heart, there are rewards coming. I think that, not every guy is a bad person. In fact, the majority of men are decent people. And so I think it's also important for us to understand that this doesn't apply to, it doesn't apply to the bad people of the world. This is applying to those people who would do harm to others, right? So here is the other thing that Oshune also rewards the good, right? So Oshune is the goddess who is cosmic consciousness of the divine feminine, or God's presence. Some would call it the Holy Ghost, right? So that she observes the actions of men, right? And women and all of us, and there will be an account and a reckoning. So here's an example of Oshune. Here is a guy, MD motivator. He presents himself as homeless to see what people's actions will do and what the consequences will be.
Today's my birthday.
Oh, bless you. Happy birthday, man.
Thank you.
Everything's all right?
No,
Is something?
I have no friends and I wanted to celebrate my birthday.
I can be with you right here, man.
You don't know me though.
Hey, you don't care, bro. In this world that we're living right now, we need one another.
What's your name?
My name is Elvin.
Zach.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, bro.
Could you get me candles and sing me happy birthday?
What, you need candle?
It's embarrassing to ask, but
No, bro, I got you.
Are you sure?
Whatever you need. Let me go inside and get it for you. How much older are you?
So he goes out and he gets the candles and he lights it for the man. And another woman who's homeless goes and said she only has $1 or $2. And even though she's in a shelter, she also gives him food.
To forget the both. Hopefully, he's still proud for me in heaven.
They'd be very proud of you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Zach. Happy birthday to you. And I pray for you.
God sees everything. Trust that God sees everything. That's today's message from Oshune. Both the good and the bad.
Right now,
Make somebody happy.
I'm going to say in Spanish, okay?
Okay.
Gracias, Señor, por la oportunidad que tú me das en este momento, Padre, Señor, de estar aquí con Sam. Bendícelo hoy en su cumpleaños, Padre, Señor. Te doy las gracias por darme la oportunidad de bendecirlo, Padre, en este día. Gracias por darme la oportunidad, Señor, de abrir los ojos y encontrar, Padre, Señor, a alguien en necesidad, Padre, Señor, así como tú nos mandas, Señor, que nos amemos unos a los otros. Yo te lo pido de todo corazón, Señor, que tú tengas misericordia de él, que lo cuide en todo momento, Padre, Señor, en el nombre del Padre, del Hijo y del Espíritu Santo. Amén, amén. God bless you, bro.
Bye, Alvin.
Thank you.
Alvin, before you go,
Uh-huh.
it's not actually my birthday today.
That's okay. We celebrate no matter.
So he is a guy that goes around and gives blessings. So he said, I want to give you $1,000. And Elvin said, no, my blessing was to serve another human being. He said, well, great. Let's go ahead and give the $1,000 to this homeless woman who gave me $2.
Oh, no, please, no.
It's $1,000 cash.
Are you serious?
We're serious.
Everything's going to be all right. I promise you. You're a kind of woman. You deserve it. Take it. God bless you. Right now, I'll be honest with you. I got like 25.
So if you are a daughter of Oshune, this is what you do. You don't continue the abuse. Because you are a child of God, you continue to feed and serve those who need help. You don't continue to spread the toxicity. You got beaten up, you got hurt, you got stabbed in the back. Keep serving. Protect yourself. You come first, take care of yourself, but also serve. So they went back to the man, and he was given many, many blessings. He got a vacation. He got they found out what his birthday was. After me, your goodness is running after. It's running after me.
Like we now, I surrender. I give everything.
Get your tissue.
Now I give you everything.
Elvin, I have $200,000 for you.
Wow.
He got a trip to Europe also.
Cool.
Oh my God, I saw that today. I just could not stop crying.
Nice.
Be a good person. Yes, bad things happen. And yes, there is a time for justice. Know that those who harm others, God's Spirit is taking care of them, and just continue to do good in the world, and know that the same Spirit that punishes also rewards. And I think that we all have gotten too wrapped up in when's he going to go down? I want his punishment. I want to take. And we have forgotten the other side of Oshune. And the other side of Oshune is kindness and compassion and caring for others. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you said it perfectly. Make somebody happy. That's all you have to do.
Oh, there's a
and messages of hope to everybody, no matter how bad things get. There's always a rainbow waiting for you, no matter what the problem is.
All right. Yeah. So the takeaway from today's reading is do not get lost in the shuffle. Know that you are a child of God's compassion. Do not allow yourself to be defensive or take in. Know that by being a good person, you will know victory. As long as you maintain your compassion, the universe has a place for you. Protect yourself. You do come first. Carry yourself with respect and dignity, but know that your goodness is being seen. And I wanted to do something special today. And so today we're going to introduce people a little bit to this is an ancient way of worshiping God. It goes back, it's as ancient as Shintoism. It is as ancient as Shintoism. Okay. So there's only, it's a monotheistic religion. They only believe in one God, Oludumare, cosmic consciousness. But Oludumare creates Sephirim in Hebrew, creates the holy host. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts. So conscious beings that are here to allow life to exist in the world. And so it's very similar to what we would see in the Bible or in the teachings of monotheism. And we're going to just take a little bit of time to listen to a high priestess of Oshune describe what is happening and why this is happening.
In this similar vein of necessity or crisis driving connection, I wonder if you could share how Ifa Orisha tradition as a tradition with deep understanding of the forces of nature, how the tradition might diagnose our current ecological crisis.
Ooh, we in trouble, y'all.
Are there stories that speak to that?
Oh.
Are there how to begin to conceive it?
Oh, we in so much trouble, y'all. The ancestors are pissed. They are really pissed because, you know, they are reborn through us. And we're messing up the place that they want to come back to. That's one of the things. I was talking to a Congolese brother a while back who said that, you know, the problems with the ozone layer was interfering with messages that we were supposed to be receiving. We have had over the last 5 or 6 years priestesses of Oshune who've entered the waters of the river, the Oshune River in Oshobo, priestesses of in Venezuela and in Cuba, in places who go into the water and who come out in trance saying that Oshune has said that if we don't clean up our act, she will leave us, you know. Now, this is a famous Odu, Oshe Otura, where Oshun left the earth and everything dried up. We are receiving very, very clear instructions around what kind of things we have to do to not have Iya leave us. I want you to imagine, to realize that only 2% of the water on the face of the earth is fresh water. Only 2%. 3/4 of that is caught up in icebergs. Imagine for a minute what would happen if all the sweet water left the earth. It's over, okay? Know that we look at the situation that our drinking water, we're now in a place where people are buying water in a bottle. We're in a place where life-giving water is being diverted to decorative fountains instead of people's farms. We are, you know, in places where entire villages are being denied water. And so-called bee farmers are actually raping the queen bee. Honey, which is sacred to Oshun, is being contaminated with sugar water. The bugs, especially the bees who cross-pollinate our food, is being killed off. Outfits like Monsanto is creating frankenfood that kills its own offspring. The genetic modification of human beings and plants and animals is going on. It is like this insanity has to be stopped, lest we wipe ourselves out as a species. Because one of the things I learned a long time ago, the earth can do without us. She don't really need us, you know what I'm saying? And so we have priests all over the world who are leading rituals where we are singing and dancing and praying and placating the waters. I know that that's going on regularly in New Orleans because people do not want another Hurricane Katrina, you know. It is going on in places that have been hit by tsunami. I just heard that there was trash from the Japan tsunami that hit this coast, and that the trash itself was almost as big as the state of Texas. just, I mean, trying to imagine that is mind-boggling for me. So, I say to people, the first step is gratitude. If you got a glass of clean water, don't waste it. Be grateful for it, The next thing is placation, If there's a sweet water stream anywhere near you, just go there and say thanks. The next thing is work. Clean up, pick up the trash, move some rocks, help the water to flow, and kindness to others, I had a situation the other day where the woman behind the counter couldn't understand why I was giving some money to the woman standing next to me. Outside, she had said to me, would you go across the street? Would you come across the street with me and buy me a chicken sandwich because I haven't eaten? I told her, come in here with me. And once I buy my food, if I have any change, I'll give you some, which I knew I would have some change. So the woman comes in with me, and the one behind the counter is shooting her hateful darts and just wanting her to get out. I said, no, I'm going to give her some money. So I give her some money. And the woman behind the counter says to me, what would it take for you to not give her some money? Well, first of all, it's my money. I give it to any damn body I want to, right? But I said, she asked me for it. Well, why you feel you have to give it to her? I said, because she's hungry. Well, why you had to give it to her? Because I am a child of Oshune. And what I know is anybody who is hungry deserves to eat. You got that? And once I did that, her whole thing changed. She came down off her high horse, and suddenly she was friendly to me. I told the woman didn't ask me for no money for alcohol or drugs. She asked me to buy her some food. I gave her the money because I didn't feel like walking across the street, And so sometimes people get so callous and defensive that you can't tell the difference between somebody who's trying to hustle you and somebody who's dying because they're hungry. And that's the Oshun sensibility, to be able to tell the difference and to address that. So I'm saying that our salvation will come in a true humility, which is not bowing and scraping to somebody, but keeping your ear close to the earth and listening carefully to what she is saying to you. Now, I admit that I'm one of them people who are way on the other end of that. There are folks who can walk outside and not feel the sunshine or the air and totally. I think it's much better. Everybody who's over here need to come. You ain't got to be as far out as me, but come on in a little bit because you live here.
The story you referenced of Oshetura and of Oshun leaving the earth, the remedy that's called for, or the repair in that story, is that some of what you're speaking to about the spirit of non-abandonment, of gratitude, of honoring the waters?
Yes. Yeah, in the Odu Oshetura, when Oshun comes down with the other deities, and they treat her as if she is unimportant. And she decides, rather than to indulge in any kind of fight, she goes sit on the moon and powder her face. And of course, no work can be done without water. and everything fails. So when the other deities, Ogun couldn't forge no iron, Obatala couldn't shape no children, Kawo and Oya couldn't make no rain fall, nothing. The way the story goes, they go up to Olodumare, the Most High, and say, "Whoa, what's up? We can't do nothing." And he says, "Well, where's Oshun?" He said, "Oh, she ain't nobody." Olodumare said, "You don't understand. You can't do nothing without Oshun." So Olodumare sends for Oshun, and their first job is to apologize. Okay, their first job is to apologize. And one of my elders told me when he translated the Odu from the Yoruba, not only did the others have to apologize, but Oshun told them, "Don't let it happen again." Okay, don't let it happen again. And then and only then, when she agreed to come back after giving birth to Eshu Odata, then and only then could the work of the earth be carried out. Now, a lot of people are going to run up on lower echelon interpretations of Oshun's energy, but she is the unbridled eroticism of nature. She is the power of attraction that causes a particle and a wave to interact with each other. She is why atoms and molecules hold together. She is why plants entwine their roots and animals make mating calls to each other. Let's not get it confused. Okay. The moisture, the sweet moisture of the earth is the essence of Oshun. Nothing can be done on this planet without her. But she requires that we apologize for wrong behavior, clean ourselves up, change the habit, and do the work of repair. And on that, she is relentless. I tell people all the time, know very clearly that one of Oshun's rules is that which is not appreciated is taken away. So, we got some time. We've got a few years to get our acts together.
Pretty scary, isn't it?
It is.
So she's going to do what she has to do. $61 million men had their lives destroyed in one day.
Well, another thing is that we're poisoning our planet with, like, for instance, Roundup is one.
Yeah.
It's in our atmosphere. It's in everything.
Can you talk a little bit about the Roundup? Because people may not know what you're talking about.
Roundup is basically a cousin to Agent Orange that was used in Vietnam. If anybody remembers Vietnam, they used almost 400 million gallons of that in Vietnam to spray the jungles in Vietnam. And thousands upon thousands of people were having children that were with horrible birth defects and health conditions you wouldn't believe. And not only them, but also our veterans. Hundreds of thousands of our veterans were poisoned during that time in Vietnam. And that's what's going on in the planet right now with Roundup being used. And I hope to God Europe has already outlawed it, Roundup. And I hope in the future that they'll do the same thing here in the States. And also all these herbicides, like I said, the Roundup is one. There's other brands that are similar to it. But also you got pesticides that are killing off our honeybees. I mean, the honeybees right now are almost wiped out in some areas. I mean, you have to hire a honeybee expert to bring in honeybees to pollinate just orange orchards in California and then also Florida, because there's so many pesticides being sprayed all the time to kill off the bugs and stuff, but it's killing off everything.
God, that's insane.
That's why we need, you got to have some new laws. Yeah, it also kills people too. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. It kills people too. And it's got to change. It has to change.
Wow. All right, let's get to some quick blitzes, one or two cards as we go along. Kimberly Bly Fitbold from Facebook wants to know, will my niece Amber get through her radiation treatments and become well? My brother also has cancer. I'm so sorry. Goes back to the toxic earth and these toxic chemicals, right, Joel?
Yes. I was going to say that has your family tried the immune therapy for the cancer treatments? Because immune therapy has shown to be very beneficial to people with cancer. So that's another avenue you might want to check out.
I'm seeing that a private organization that gives donations to people in need through the hospital will be funding treatment. You have the businessman. So say, for example, I leave an endowment to the hospital for a cancer treatment of, $10 million for people in need, then you can apply and get it. So there's some kind of treasure trove, a private donation that can come through. And that this will likely turn out good for Amber, but probably through private organizations associated with the hospital. Look at possible funding that way, but the funding will be there. Yeah. That's difficult, isn't it?
It is.
Should do research. Yeah, I've heard about nutritionists. Yeah, it's something that you don't want to do a lot about because if you have liver toxicity, it can be difficult to break down the aspartame. Something non-political. I have Rh negative. What are your thoughts on the mysteries around people who have the negative factor? I don't really know a lot about it.
I'm an A negative myself.
Oh, that's one of the most ancient. Chimpanzees are A. So we share a common ancestor.
I'm not mucking around.
You're not monkeying around. I don't have the answer for that. I do know that it appears to be that the antigen, the positive antigen on the surface of the red blood cell appears to have protected us against plagues. It appears to be a mutation that protected us from attacks by certain diseases. And for that reason, it seems to those people who survived, if your family members survived la plague, it's likely because they were Rh positive, and the Rh negative that didn't have that mutation were more likely to die off because it was easier for the diseases to bind to cells.
Wasn't the plague caused by rats back in the Middle Ages?
Rats carrying fleas and then the bites of the fleas. And
Right.
This kind of gave birth to the tall beds from old Europe.
Okay.
for protection from fleas and rats. So people would have to get up, climb up onto the bed, and they would also have a door to close so the mice and the rats wouldn't get in. It would also afford you some privacy if you were sharing with your family a room. And the strange reasons medieval people slept in cupboards. And so these cupboards, this is similar to when I did a remote view on Sally Hemings. She described where she was kept. And this is how Sally Hemings was kept. In a room like this. He built a box. And so he would attack her inside the box. So nobody could, in a room next to his room. So nobody would be able to hear if she was screaming or being tortured or whatnot. And I didn't know the boxes existed until I started Googling them. But it protected you also. You could climb up. The average flea can jump about 2.5 feet. And so it prevented you, unless you had a flea on you when you got into the bed. So you would have to periodically check and air it out and check yourself for fleas and critters before you got into the bed. But that was what they were created for. Yeah.
Weird.
Pretty horrible things we did. Will we ever get back to a sort of normal state here in America? So upsetting with all the abuse of power in women. Yeah, by listening to what the priestess said today. Work on yourself and be a mentor to other people. The discernment of Oshune, right? This person doesn't want this money for drugs. She's hungry and everybody deserves to eat. And I'm going to make sure that she is able to go and buy herself a sandwich, right? So the compassion we saw today in the video that we showed earlier, all of these things, we collectively come together in our humanity, and we will overtake the 3% that have personality disorders. And we must also check in on ourselves that we don't become the cheering squad for charismatic sociopaths. Because politicians in the end are just politicians, and they'll say whatever they think their constituents want to hear. We all had a sobering moment when we had to accept the fact that Swalwell had multiple accusers going back to 2018, right? That was difficult for all of us because he was the darling of the Democratic Party. And I was pretty impressed with how he conducted himself in the January 6th. So
I always thought he loved the headlights. He just, all he wanted was headlines.
It's too bad. But, it goes back also to what we saw when we, did you hear about what happened with The View? The View.
Yeah, they've had a lot of breakups. I know that.
Who has?
Well, in the past, they've always had different hosts that didn't get along with others. In the past, I can't remember who it was. I know Whoopi always had a disagreement with somebody on the panel.
Oh yeah, Whoopi is she keeps a tight shift.
She does.
She has grandkids. She has grandkids.
And she loves them.
Well, that's a good grandma. That they create boundaries.
Oh, yeah.
Depending on which one that is, those are the people that are willing to turn their head.
R&D.
Republican or Democrat. They wear partisan jerseys, the votes they need. They're always doing math, not human faces, not human crimes or rumors. It's, are they voting with us or are they voting against us? And I sadly don't believe DC can self-regulate. It's like having HR.
Right. So let me see if
He really wasn't. He was one that they thought could be, but
He had 59% of the.
not really.
But even so, like the Me Too movement really caught up like a lot of media figures, a lot of business figures. It really didn't touch government and politics. I mean, look no further than the landscape of DC. And I worked on Capitol Hill for a long time. There's no HR. Every office is for a member of Congress is basically its own office.
Right.
And if the predator is the person at the top of the office, there's nowhere to go. There's this power dynamic, there's a fear factor. And I do think the rumors matter because, to be honest, I had heard and even experienced nothing wrong or criminal, but I've been with Eric Swalwell when he seemed overserved. And I'm not saying something that I wouldn't have said to his face. And I filed it away. Just as a woman, you pay attention when you're like, this is a business setting. This is something I'm not super comfortable with. This people who even had a little inkling should have stepped up and said something. And if
was at an event where he was overserved. This goes back to the remotes where when I put myself in the shoes of Swalwell, I had a drinking problem. You know, and the other point that they make is, why is there no oversight? Any feelings about that, Joel?
Well, in the House, they have the ethics committee. And in the past, you know, before Trump, there was a lot of complaints on different congressmen, and they would investigate it. And it went through a process, and whoever had problems with another congressman for ethical issues, it was resolved, you know, quietly, or sometimes in public, and sometimes in the case of that. What was that representative that was kicked out for fraud and everything else? What was his name?
God, yeah, he killed a dog. He killed a dog.
Well, I'm talking about the Santos.
Santos, yeah, George Santos. He took the money that was supposed to go to keep a dog alive and let the dog die of slow, painful death from cancer and ran off.
That's what I'm talking about right there. And there were probably a whole list of people that were probably on that ethical investigations. And then all of a sudden it stopped. it all stopped. And now you don't hear about it anymore.
Yeah, so it's both parties.
It's both
because
parties.
Sociopaths don't believe in anything.
No.
So if the people in the crowd are Mormons, they will go be a Mormon. You know, it's like the sociopath that was going to Brigham Young University. She said it was great to be a sociopath at Brigham Young University because they were so naive and trusting and they just wanted to serve God. And so she was robbing them blind. They wouldn't lock their doors.
Yep.
They wouldn't lock their lockers. So she'd go into the women's restroom when they were showering, and she would go and she would take all their money. She said it was a sociopath's paradise. So the point is that they know how to play the game. In the case of Swalwell, I had a drinking problem when I became Swalwell. I number one, I was an alcoholic, and number two, I had this other thing. It was a game for me. I thought it was funny watching a woman completely out of it. Like this wasn't because I'm a psychopath, so I can go on and I can put on the character and I can play the great Democrat who's going to go and save the day. But what we have to be aware of is that it's not about Republican or Democrat. Are you a psychopath? And unfortunately, power attracts this type of person. You know, and I think that's really what we have to learn from this experience is that they come in all shapes and sizes. People used to trust their priest, right? And then all their kids got molested. Now the new policies with Pope Leo, you're not allowed to be in a room by yourself if you're a priest with a child. The door has to remain open and people have to be able to see you. You're not able to close the door with little Timmy. Those days are gone. And it's sad that it had to get to this point, but that's the point it's gotten to. I don't know. Any feelings about that, Joel? Did we always have to be at this point? We always had to be aware of the 3%?
I think for a long time we all worshipped too much our leaders, And I think right now with all this publicity, the 1 to 3%, it's going to open up a lot of worms, a can of worms on the whole scandal. We're, like I said, we're at the beginning of this, and it's only going to get worse before it gets better. And once it's all out, then the world's going to change big time.
This process is painful to watch.
It is painful. And it's just going to take time for all this to be cleared up. But
when I heard, yeah, go ahead.
We'll be better. We'll be a better society once this is all out.
When I heard that 61 million men had gone to that site about, come watch me drug and rape my wife. You can join it. You can pay to watch it.
Sick.
All of those men were now had an FBI file that a large percentage of them had lost their families, lost their jobs, were facing criminal prosecution. Some had already taken their own lives. I thought, damn, that's the discernment of Oshune.
Well, did you hear today that who's the prosecutor in New York, Fed? What's his name? I'm trying. What is his name?
Oh, Bragg's.
Bragg is opening an investigation on Swalwell today. Did you hear about that?
Well, it was under investigation months ago, but evidently a leaker out of the New York DA had called Roger Stone, and that's why people thought that it was a Republican. I understand why people got confused, by the way. I mean, it makes sense. Why did Stone get tipped off? Because there was a clerk or somebody in the New York DA who saw the stuff coming in because he pays tipsters. And evidently one of the clerks gave a heads up to Stone, this is coming down the pike. And that is how Stone got tipped off. It wasn't that Stone was directly involved. And I think there was a little bit of confusion that happened because of that. And rightly so. It's 21 days before the primaries. The primaries are coming up. And yeah, so that's what I think what happened.
So we might have indictments on Stone and Swalwell?
Not Stone. Stone just had a tipster. I mean, this is what Roger Stone does. He snoops around looking for dirt on Democrats, and he's willing to pay big bucks to get it.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought Stone was going to be indicted.
No, Stone wasn't involved. Stone found out about it and published Swalwell's going to be going through some stuff.
Oh.
So people thought, oh, it's a conspiracy and that Stone is a part of it. But and Stone had nothing. Yeah.
Stone was Nixon's dirty trickster. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, he was madly.
As a young man.
Yeah, he was crazy about Nixon. He's got a Nixon tattoo.
That's right.
But Stone was never directly involved with the fall of Swalwell. I think that's what people need to understand. What he is a dirty trickster who's always looking for dirt on people, pays for dirt on people, who got a heads up from somebody in the DA and Manhattan DA had called and given him a heads up that this was coming down. So that's what happened. All right, let's do some cards on Kash Patel. Is Kash Patel going to be fired? What are you thinking? You think he's on his way out?
I think he will. He's run up a lot of expenses, like Noam. What's her name? Noam was investigated for rampant spending on her accounts.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. And Patel's the same way.
Confused. He doesn't really know what's happening. So he presents as unplugged. There's another guy who could be taking his job. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's worried about his future death. He could be out in 6 months. 6 months.
Tell you the truth, he'll make more money by being out of government.
Yeah, that's true. Molybdenum, it might be, when if you have an enzyme, like the enzymes, alcohol dehydrogenase, it may use molybdenum as a mineral to help in metabolizing alcohol. I'm not sure.
Well, they said I was hearing something about somebody was working on a cure for hangover.
Yeah, you can do a sun tea. Just make sure that your water has been boiled. And the problem is when you leave something out in the sun, if there are bacteria, etc., that can grow, that can be kind of dangerous. So you want to make sure that your products are clean, and that would be my only concern there. Thank you so much, Mary Daughter, for your $20 donation. Much appreciated. Kimberly Bly, Fithold. My sister-in-law's husband has panic attacks that give him horrible nightmares and sweats. How can I help? The first thing I would do is I would check his blood sugar and make sure that we're not looking at spikes in insulin that are affecting his adrenaline. The other reason that he might be having panic attacks could be that something generally going on. So I would check his vitals, make sure he doesn't have hypertension. I would clean up his diet. And I would want to know what his hemoglobin A1C is, because those types of panic attacks at night could be shifts in his cortisol and his adrenaline, and that may be a sign that he has prediabetes.
Mm-hmm. He could have post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, or he could have something going on like PTSD. Regardless, we want to stabilize your blood sugar, and that's the best. If you do have PTSD, the best thing you can do for complex PTSD is to stabilize your blood sugar, and that's going to give you more of an even kill Zen effect. I recommend usually the staying on the zone, eating a mostly plant-based diet with 20% lean animal protein is usually the right diet for the human body. I just finished some Marion berry pie this morning. I was a bit naughty. But for the most part, I try to have my sugar be under 25 grams a day for that reason. Yeah. A lot of nightmares, says Randy. Yeah. And dreams. Yeah, it can happen. Start with stabilizing your blood sugar and minimize caffeine and salt. And blood sugar spikes are the two or three things we get control of when we try to help people with anxiety. And then we also try to remove watching too much TV or film or news that's going to trigger anxiety. So you want to be around positive things, be close to the earth, grounding, walking on the grass, flowers, nature, higher octave music like Bach is a good idea. And we recommend stabilizing your blood sugar, decreasing salt, which can increase hypertension, and of course, sugar, which can cause huge spikes in insulin, which can cause feelings of panic.
Balance.
Yeah. Protein with every meal.
Yeah, you just can't have carbs by itself. You got to have protein with it.
Yeah, and I would avoid white flour, and I would cut out bread pretty much. I don't have a lot of bread in my diet anymore for that reason. Occasionally, I like to have a little sourdough toast as a treat, but it's a treat and it's not something I do daily. Mary Daughter, thanks for Sunday reading. I wonder what my guides say about walking away from a friend whose behavior feels respectful or hurtful. Well, my first feeling when I go into this is, does the friend have a conscious understanding that what they're saying is hurtful to you? There's no such thing as being too sensitive. You feel what you feel, and you have to respect what you feel and not poo-poo it and say, because that's the point at which you start second guessing yourself. This person may be the nicest person in the world, but they could be like the rest of us, wrapped up in their own stuff and not realize that their comments are hurtful to you. So being able to have an uncomfortable conversation and let them know that it's hurtful, I wouldn't just dump them as a friend. It could be, or maybe you feel better about writing a letter. And be careful that you're not accusing, but just saying, I think, acknowledge that you think this person's a good person. Otherwise, they wouldn't be your friend. But these things are hurtful to me. But I wouldn't judge myself as being too sensitive, because then you're invalidating what you feel. And it's important for you to validate what you feel, Mary.
Boundaries.
Yeah. So a new contract or new beginning starts for you and your friend. That is what they're saying. And this is a relationship that they also want you to acknowledge the great things that you have gotten from this relationship, that in many ways this friend has been a blessing to you. Riches over this. So I don't know. It's about power and feeling that you're being disempowered in some way. And the final outcome for you is time to take a break. Maybe go on a vacation. You're a little stir crazy. Maybe you're feeling a little down on yourself right now, and maybe time to take yourself on a road trip to Southern California, or
Go to the beach.
Yeah, they're saying that you should go on a vacation, take a trip, and go. Oh, someone's barbecuing. I can smell it. I love the smell of barbecue. The point is that take a break from this.
Be nice to yourself.
Yeah, be nice to yourself. Maybe you're getting a little stir crazy right now, and break up your routine. Like Chuck and I saved for like 6 months for this vacation. Both of us didn't go on vacation for a while. Last time I went was in the fall, and it was disaster. Everybody knows about that disaster, but they're saying you need to take yourself on a little vacation. Yeah, take yourself on a little vacation and go give yourself some good energy.
Be happy.
Is this the news that just came out this week? Yeah, we're talking about we were talking about Swalwell, and there are people in this world that are messed up. That's some pretty messed up stuff. Now there's more victims coming forward. Have you ever known anyone like that, Joel? Somebody who
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I have a neighbor down the street that he thinks the whole thing, everything is a conspiracy. So I stay away from him because it's all negative, negative. And so I'll say hi, wave hi to him when I go by or whatever, and then talk a little bit with him, and then I say, well, I gotta go, because he'll start talking about all the negative stuff, and then I just stay away. I just stay away from him.
61 million people visited the site it was a private chat where men were drugging and raping their wives and inviting men for a fee to come and rape their wives. And then they were also charging a fee if you wanted to get a link to watch the live video of multiple men raping an unconscious wife, and they were filming it. So a total of 61 million men signed on, and all of those names are now in the property of Interpol. And so within a day, Oshune took out 61 million men. Because the spirit of the energy of this is discernment. With the one hand, she gives love and compassion, feed the hungry, but with the other, she takes out the wicked. Or some would call it the Holy Spirit. Some people refer to it as the Holy Spirit, the feminine attributes of God, the Shekinah. It's also referred to as the Shekinah in the Jewish tradition. But it's this, the angel of death is one aspect of that. And the universe does this periodically. It has to take out those that would do us harm so that life can continue. You know, that's the bottom line. It's very, very sad, isn't it?
It is.
It's very, very sad to see people throw their lives away for something like those men who thought that it would be fun and sexy to watch, and it's happening live and with no understanding that someone is being drugged, raped, and tortured. And it's just like I don't know. Have we become desensitized because of the news where we just watch these things and none of it seems real anymore? Maybe they think it was fake. Maybe they, you know, a lot of the men that they have so far brought in for questioning have said, I thought it was fake. I thought it was like a performance piece. You know, what do you do with that? What if they really did think it was fake? But why would you even have a fantasy like that? Like I'm so confused by this whole thing.
Me too.
There's a guy on Facebook who sees if those who are homeless will help him in some way. If they will, he gives them help and sometimes does a GoFund for them. Oh, that's really sweet. Oh, thank you, love. You're so kind. Shivan Dumas. I am familiar with Oshune priestess who is speaking. Met her many years ago. Lucky you, man. She is truly a remarkable person. I want to thank everyone who gifted me and my family when we needed help. Amen to that, sister.
Amen.
Amen, amen. Show gratitude when we can. I'm grateful to all of these wonderful people who could join us today. I have 5 acres in the county with half-acre pond, a dry creek rest in the half-acre field. I do not use pesticides. Oh, beautiful.
Good for you.
Beautiful. We got to create a stream or a sweet water there. Bring Oshune's energy. Oshune will not leave us once new leadership will change the earth for the better. Can you talk on that, Joel? How you feel about that?
Well, there's going to be new laws coming, and it's going to benefit mankind forever. It's just a matter of when. During this chaos that we're going through right now, it will turn around. It's just going to take time, and I think by 2032. You know, it's 4 years, maybe in 4, maybe 6 years, everything is going to be changed. Everything with new leadership and because the Mitch McConnells, the Trumps, Swalwells, they're all going.
Are we always going to be vulnerable if we don't have an HR department for Congress?
They're going to have to pass new laws to really keep the sociopaths from entering Congress, period. And I just hope to God we get to that point where ethics will finally return to our government, not just here, but all over the world. But it change is coming. It's just going to take time.
Oh, Shatura, that's my Ifa Odun, divined for me by an Ifa priest, not an Orisha pantheon. I've lived with that energy for over 40 years. Yeah, my father is Oshune. My father is Obatala, which an Ifa priest gave me my father because I was in medical school. So Obatala came to cool my head because I have too much fire. I'm like an angry Aries. So peace, tranquility, that is the energy of Obatala. And my mother is Oshitura, is Oshune. Yeah.
You know, yeah. I've had friends in the past that tell me that I don't act like a Taurus.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what do you think?
Different.
What do you think you are? What do you think you favor? You seems to me like you have a lot of water in your chart.
I'm at the last day of my cycle, the 20th of May.
So you feel like you've got a lot of air in your chart?
Well, I have my moon sign is rising sign is Aquarius. That's a water sign, isn't it?
What is it?
Aquarius.
Aquarius is an air sign.
The air sign. Okay, air.
No, a Cancer is not a parasite. Cancer is not a parasite. There are different types of cancers. That is not true. It is not a parasite. That is misinformation. It takes place inside of our cells when there's a mutation in the cell where the cell does not die. We say that a cancer cell is immortal. It does not die. Now, you can have genetic markers that make you at greater risk of certain types of cancers. For example, if you have the genetics of BRCA1, BRCA2, then you're at higher risk for ovarian and breast cancer. That was the type of cancer that took out Gilda Radner, and also.
Don't you think that gene therapy in the future is going to change?
Yeah, because gene therapy goes in and it changes, but what's happening inside of a cell is that it doesn't die with a cancer cell, and so it will. Same with tumors, and then the other scary thing about tumors is that they will create their own blood supply. So if you have a tumor that's taken over, even say it's non-malignant, but it will keep growing and it will keep creating more blood supplies, and it becomes exhausting to carry it. So when you remove the tumor, you have to remove all of these veins, all of this this blood supply that is maintaining it. Different things can cause your cells to become genetically damaged. One can be environmentals. There are certain things environmentally that can cause a cell to become cancerous. An example would be skin cancer, where chronic exposure to radiation causes damage to skin cells, so that then the cells cannot divide naturally or healthfully, but we have what's called a partial division. So you have what's called telomere shortening in cancer. So that means that the cell is only partially divided, right? So you have partial division of the cell. Now, in a healthy person, the cell would just die, right? And it would basically commit suicide, right? So what that means is that you want to have normal cell division, but if a cell winds up not being able to divide completely, and you've got this clump of two cells stuck together, then that's what we call a telomere disease. And as we age, telomeres become short. Every division, these strands become shorter and shorter and shorter until the likelihood of cancer becomes more likely that you're going to get cancer. So what do we think about as the highest risk factors for cancer? What's going to put you at high risk of cancer? The first is your genetics, right?
Yeah.
So if you're born with certain mutations, some people, for example, who have a high risk of colon cancer because of genetics.
Like me.
Yeah.
My dad had colon cancer.
Right. So even if they're on a great diet, they're still going to be at risk of colon cancer because they have a genetic anomaly. Then you have aging, simply growing older. Every time a cell divides, the telomeres are going to get shorter and shorter and shorter until eventually you're going to have greater risk of developing a deformed cell. What is a telomere? A telomere are the strings. They're like strings that come out when when a cell divides to make another cell. It's going to divide. It's going to have these strings that are attached that will sever, and those are the telomeres as the DNA replicates. And so every time the cell has to divide, we see a shortening of the telomeres. And this is why aging is a risk factor for cancer. Other things are what we call an oncogene activator, things that are going to activate an oncogene or a cancer gene until eventually you get what's called a tumor formation. So environmental exposures can be pesticides, fried foods, too many calories, or oxidative stress can also do it. So we think about just having pre-diabetes, obesity, which creates oxidative stress. So in that case, you can look at what's called this idea of oxidative stress and cancer, because oxidative stress damages cells, making division difficult, right? So an example of oxidative stress causing too much inflammation would be blood sugar dysregulation, right? So your cortisol's all over the place. You're eating massive amounts of junk food, and that also. But it is not a parasite. That's kind of like ivermectin does not cure cancer. These things don't cure. This is all. First off, there's multiple types of cancer, and we don't even know what the organ or tissue is that's involved in the cancer, whether or not it has a genetic component. There's no simple cure. There's no simple answer for how to treat cancer, and there's no simple cause of cancer. We have to look at a person's genetics. Was age a factor? Simply growing older is going to make your cells older, and older cells are going to have a harder time with division. Oxidative stress, anything that creates free radicals, because free radicals can damage cells. So what causes free radicals? Consuming too many calories, right? All of those things can cause inflammation, which creates oxidative stress.
Not enough balance.
Yeah. So we want to keep your cells healthy. How do we reduce the amount of free radicals that your body is taking in? Sunscreen. So the free radicals, the little particles that are damaging your cells. What is a free radical? A free radical is a oxygen species. You know, oxygen is O2. It has two electrons on the outer part of its shell. When it loses one of those electrons, that electron becomes a free radical. The oxidative species becomes reactive, and it will try to the electron will try to neutralize itself because it's reactive, and so it does that by attacking any tissue that it can neutralize the free radical, right? So it's looking for another electron, basically, on the outer shell of. So when we talk about oxidative absorption capacity of free radicals, we're talking about a diet that's high in antioxidants. So what do we think about as cancer preventative foods? Are those foods that can donate an electron to a oxidative species that's been produced, causing free radicals. So burning calories and exercise creates free radicals. You start giving off these oxygen species that are missing an electron, and that's because of something called the electron transport chain don't bother getting overwhelmed by it. The point is that exercise can produce free radicals, consuming too many calories, etc. So when we think about how to reduce free radicals, we think about antioxidants. So those are foods that can donate an electron so that you don't have an unpaired electron on the outer shell of the oxygen. Because when you have unpaired electron on the outer shell of the oxygen, that's tearing your cells apart. It's causing the wrinkles in your face. That's all. It's digging in and ripping apart because it's very violent, a free radical. So it's looking for an electron, and that's why it's tearing your face apart, your cells apart, and damaging your cells, making them at higher risk of cancer. So how do you prevent that from happening? By bathing yourself in foods that are rich in these electrons that can donate an electron, and that's what we call foods high in antioxidants. You can also put antioxidants on your skin.
Like coconut oil?
Yeah, and keep your blood sugar stabilized and try not to overeat, and those sorts of things are very important. But there's no evidence that I have seen of the ivermectin, and I would want to see some hard data on that, and I haven't found that. For me, that's a red flag of disinformation. So Rose says, some fish, mostly grains and vegetables. Yeah, so when we're talking about grains, when we're talking about an anti-inflammatory diet, we're talking about a diet that usually winds up being mostly plant-based. If you're an A positive blood type, then you can do fish, but mostly A positive, they are at higher risk of dying of a heart attack, for example. The research coming out on A. Blood is thinner in O positive, and so they're more likely to survive a heart attack. But this would be the classic diet that we give people who are concerned about their blood sugar and also concerned about cancer, and that is the anti-inflammatory diet, which is rich in antioxidants, and it lowers your glycemic index by removing those foods that are high in sugar from the diet. And you can see about 80% of the diet is going to be a plant-based with a large salad every day. If you can't do raw, then we say a large bowl of steamed vegetables or lightly sauteed. And then in terms of grains, you want to go with the ones that have the lower glycemic load. Lower glycemic load would be like amaranth, barley, millet, quinoa is excellent, brown rice, etc. Legumes, sprouted legumes are best. You can buy them pre-sprouted at Whole Foods so you don't have to soak them for 48 hours, like the sprouted lentils. And of course, fish is great. So this should be where you're headed in terms of your diet. If you still feel you need extra protein, you want to go with the lean animal proteins, skinless chicken and turkey, and a little bit of butter and olive oil is not bad for you, particularly if it's grass-fed. Keep yourself hydrated. When we're talking about foods that are bad for your health, high in animal fats and like the hard cheeses that are like 20-30% fat is terrible for you. And corn products will spike your glucose. Tomatoes are good medicine. It's only on the list because some people have acid reflux. Potatoes can spike your sugar. Coffee is one of the things we've debated whether to have it on the list. It's on the list for people who have anxiety. Same with alcohol, it can spike your blood sugar. Red meat, if it's grass-fed and lean, grilled, you may want to indulge occasionally to have a little bit of that. But citrus fruit, again, very good for you. The problem with citrus fruit is only if you have acid reflux, then it's on the list for that reason.
I don't have fried chicken. I air fry.
Oh, good.
I air fry my chicken.
How's it?
It's better.
Oh,
It's
yeah?
actually pretty good.
Can I come to your house and eat your fried chicken?
Sure.
Sounds absolutely delicious. How long does it take to cook it in the air fryer?
About 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
15, 18 minutes. Yeah.
Seriously? So you
Yeah.
have your family over at the house having it?
My son and I. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's good.
What do you serve it with?
With vegetables.
Yeah.
And a few red potatoes.
Yeah, red potatoes. Nice.
Yeah, balance it out.
Yeah, everything in balance, just as long as you're not going crazy on your sugar. Well, I had fun today. Did you have fun today, Joel? It was a hell of a day today. We had a lot. I'm sorry we couldn't get to everyone's
I was
questions.
surprised you let me get on.
Yeah, usually I like to have Sundays by myself, but I figure, since I was going to be leaving for 2 weeks, it'd be nice to have you on.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. And thank you to everybody who pitched in, donated a little bit today. Of course, thank you, Joel, who donated $100. We really do appreciate it. All right. If you need to see me as a naturopathic doctor or a medical intuitive or as a tarot reader, you can find all that information below this video. Or you can just Google me, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, through Booksy. I would love to work with you. I do general health coaching, tarot card reading, and medical intuitive. I'd love to work with you. All right, we're out of here. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless. Peace out. We will see you next time, everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good trip.
Okay, hold for 3.